So we have here Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus. We're gonna talk about this bike and see how it performs, especially considering that this bike is only available as automatic version, right?
Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're gonna talk about Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus, because there is a list of questions regarding should you get one, whether it's too much tech on that motorcycle, how it all works together. And you know, I have quite a bit of information about Yamaha Tracer lineup on my channel, so you can go there, you can watch all those videos, comparison videos, etc. But in this video I want to focus exactly on things which make GT Plus different from any other Tracer in their lineup. And those things are radar, brakes, and automatic gearbox, because pretty much else is similar to GT models. And I would say GT Plus or Yamaha brings GT Plus to a whole another level by adding this like layer of technology and the way how this technology works together.
So the way I want to see this bike performance is how this bike is able to handle serpentines, because main concern for many people is that automatic gearbox might not perform well in such conditions, like when you need to go through turns like this. And also considering that Y-AMT is actually not connected to IMU system which Yamaha has on this motorcycle. So because of that we want to see what is their behavior of the bike when you ride some of the twisties, because as we know, Yamaha is actually positioning this bike as the one to take to the twisty roads and serpentines. It has to be good handling all those conditions, right? But also there is so many concerns about Y-AMT in general, that this gearbox is not that much smooth, or it is jerky, or it might not switch when you need it. So that's why we are here, right? So we're starting this video riding this park where we have number of turns and we can actually simulate how this bike is performing on twisty passes. So as you know, you have a couple of automatic modes and you have manual mode as well. Also in terms of suspension settings and overall throttle response, etc., we ride in street mode, which is sort of again touring mode for Tracer 9 lineup. And as you can see now, is actually the gearbox understands that you're not on the highway, because you accelerate, you decelerate. So it's not actually upshift more than third gear.
The thing is, Y-AMT is not connected to IMU, meaning that the gearbox doesn't understand when you're leaning on the bike, when you're what happens on the road, what is the road surface whatsoever. So literally IMU works separately on all safety features and gearbox is on its own. I don't know why Yamaha decided to start this way, especially on top-end model, because as we know in 2025 Honda they connected DCT to IMU, so literally gearbox understands what happens with the motorcycle at every given moment. But here it doesn't work this way. However, what Yamaha claims, they have integrated like AI algorithms, and basically AI is able to learn from your driving behavior or from the environment where you're driving within first several minutes, and then it tries to adjust the gearbox performance to those conditions, which is, in my opinion, is like difficult way to do. It's kind of you have two systems which work on their own, right? So you have IMU system which controls everything in this motorcycle, but the only thing it's not connected to is a gearbox, and the gearbox is kind of one of the core elements of the motorcycle which works on its own algorithms. And probably the most simpler way would be to connect them and just make them talking to each other, and then they can just perform better.
Because the way how it works, it always tries to keep the gearbox engaged. So you always have right torque under your wrist. And also if you go down the hill, it sort of try to keep the engine braking there as well. So what if you want to have a little bit of fun riding this road? Let's see how it performs. So again, now we're riding purely in automatic mode. My main question would be to see if it shifts in the right way. And so far it performs well. Because this is one of the main concerns from so many people, saying that they don't want to be in a situation when, for instance, you're cornering and it does not shift, or opposite, it shifts, like down shifts or up shifts when you're cornering. I want to actually see if there will be situation like this, because of course you don't want to lose the grip or traction when you're cornering. But so far I have no problems, to be honest. And again, we're doing fully automatic mode. You see, it understood that I do accelerations and decelerations all the time, and it does not really shift much to the higher gears. So as you can see, in automatic mode everything works well. So now we do the same in manual mode. So to be able to switch the gears in manual mode, you have two buttons here, plus and minus. And the idea which Yamaha put behind it is that your fingers are much more tactile, and the way how the system works, it shifts like almost instantly. So the difference between manual shifting and automatic shifting is that in manual shifting, you can set the gear, you can decide if you want to downshift or upshift, or if you want to stay with the same gear. For instance, now you see it's gonna hold second gear for me because, yeah, it's just like my choice. So when I go through this hairpin, it will keep second gear for me. But if I decide to stop, or if I have extreme braking situation, it will downshift it for me to the one, right? But it would not upshift. So that's what I need to do. I need to, and to be honest, the thing is, when electronics does it, it tries to sort of predict what you're gonna do next. And because again, it's not connected to IMU system, it doesn't really understand what you're doing and what you're seeing. So that's why sometimes it can be mistaken, you're right? But when you do it by yourself, so when you use your fingers, You decide whether you want upshift or downshift, because you know what you're gonna do, right? That makes it more, let's say, smooth and more natural experience. Same way as if you would ride a manual bike, like traditional manual bike, right? So you will be, you see the stretch of the road, you will upshift, but then you come closer to the corner, like here, you will decelerate and you will downshift. And that is like super smooth experience, to be honest. And here we have a couple of turns, so we can upshift, so we can pick up a little bit of speed, and then we need to downshift, right? So that's what we do. Amazing. Beautiful. So in manual mode, it seems to know what you're trying to do. I mean, you know what you're trying to do, it just executes, right? And as you can see, there is no jerks. So it actually does everything almost instantly. And for me, I just know what to expect. Beautiful. So smooth. Amazing. So yeah, you see with the manual shifting, it's much easier. Fourths, fifths, easy.
I was kind of paying attention to how it performs on serpentines, how it performs in town, how it performs on highway. And I would say that the most probably safe way or the most smoothest experience you have with Y-AMT is on highway. When you cruise on highway, it typically stays in upper gears. It doesn't require much shifting, and also even if it shifts between 4, 5 and 6 gear, it's still smooth experience, right? So because it doesn't do it like quite often, it doesn't downshift much, and even if it does, it's kind of very pleasant experience, so you don't really feel that you have single clutch. However, when you go to the town, the experience is not that smooth because you have to shift quite a bit between first, second and third gears. I can see how all electronics try to smoothen them up, but again, you still feel all those jerks. I would not say they're so painful in a way, you just notice them. We shouldn't have reference to DCT, that's what I'm gonna say. They shouldn't position it as automatic because that is by no means automatic gearbox. It's like manual gearbox with automatic assistance. And when we speak about it, you have to expect normal manual gearbox behavior. So my opinion with Y-AMT is if you guys traveling quite a bit, Y-AMT will be the best option in a motorcycle.
We can set the cruise control and then we can just relax. So blind spot will show me that there are some cars behind me. What I can also do, I can set certain speed, for instance 110, and set the distance. So it would not go 110 until I don't have a free pass in front of me, you know. But say if I go here, it understands there is no car in front of me. It will accelerate, but then I switch the lane and it will brake, you see. So you can literally see how it adjusts to the traffic. Let's say if I go to this lane and all cars go faster, it will also accelerate, and I do literally nothing. It rides by itself. You see it goes up. So it will keep the speed limit on the cruise until I have cars in front of me. So again, it will see the car and it will start to slow down. When you're cruising on the highway, You literally can relax.
Let's talk about radar tech, right? Because I think radar is the main feature which is separates Tracer 9 GT Plus from any other Tracer, and also it's kind of premium feature because it can only be found on most premium, most luxurious motorcycles nowadays. On GT Plus you have unified braking system which is connected to the radar, and the thing is, in certain situations the bike can add extra effort on braking system for you. The main misunderstanding here is that people thinking that the bike will brake for you, which is not the case here. So the way how it works is radar, when it works together with a cruise control, adaptive cruise control, it only uses engine braking. So it doesn't engage brakes themselves. So what happens is it can decelerate a little bit, it can accelerate based on the distance to the car in front of you when you ride on highway. But then if you don't touch the brakes, it would never engage brakes. The engagement happens when you actually push the brakes. You getting too close to the car in front of you. It starts to indicate on a main screen, and then when human or rider push the brakes, from that single moment radar start to kind of identify whether it is enough distance to stop bike safely or to decelerate to the certain speed so you keep safe distance to the car in front of you. And in this situation, it will apply in background a little bit more braking power and distribute that power between front and rear axle, right? But also what happens in that moment is it stiffens up the front fork. Because again, radar connected to IMU, IMU connected to the suspension, and suspension is semi-active. So what happens then is it stiffens up front fork. So even if you need to brake hard, it doesn't dive. Once you try it in several situations, you will be wow. And then when you continue using that, after some time you get used to it so much that when you go back to any other motorcycle without radar tech and semi-active suspension, in even automatic gearbox, you sort of like, oh, it's kind of odd, because those bikes start to feel so manual even if they load it with the technology. It also connected to the headlight, so we know that both Tracer 9 GT and GT Plus, they come with matrix headlight. It has like a little camera on the front, and it's kind of like reading road conditions. On normal GT model it can hallucinate sometimes. On GT Plus you have radar tech, and this like radar tech kind of gives a little bit more preciseness. It not only relies on the camera, but it also relies on radar. So if it understands there is a car in front of you, but camera for some reason doesn't detect it or does not see it, radar will help, and it will understand the distance, and it will change in which direction it pointing the lights.
So if you want to activate hill hold, so what you do, you push front brake just with a little bit force, and then you can see that there is a sign which says hill hold. So once you add a little bit of throttle or gas, it will automatically deactivate. It's actually quite smart. I mean, it's not something new, but very easy to use.
I wanted to mention brakes as a separate feature because you know, Yamaha motorcycles, they been known for kind of not informative brakes. Like, people never say wow when we talk about Yamaha brakes, and for decades it's been there. What happens here, you have unified braking system, which I mentioned before, and with that unified braking system the bike distributes, not only distributes but also add effort while you're braking. So meaning that if you apply only 25% of pressure on the braking system, and the bike understands that you need a little bit more, it will add another like 5, 10, 15, 20%, but in a way that you don't feel it. And it will also distribute that braking effort between front and rear axle, so the bike is not really overloaded on the front, and same time is not sliding on the rear wheel. So it makes it so much intelligent. And unified braking system only available on Yamaha Y-AMT models. So Tracer 9 GT Y-AMT and Tracer 9 GT Plus, they both feature the thing, because they need to have unified braking system also for the fact that they have hill halt assist, right? So if I ride GT and then I swap to GT Plus and then I swap back to GT, if I don't look down there, I would say, oh, it feels like it's like Brembo brakes. But the thing is, the initial setup is the same. The only difference is that unified braking system just does a little bit more for you, and it knows how to intelligently distribute the braking effort between the axles. That's where even if you engage only front brake or rear brake, it still feels like you have much better performance.
So you have adaptive cruise, which allow you to perform well on highway. It has all the radar tech. It has built-in navigation. So it's sort of ultimate machine for long distance touring, you know. And as you can see, even in town, the bike performs quite well. So I could not say I have situation where I don't feel confident. It is just overall smooth experience. As you can see, it's so easy. So it means that Yamaha created a bike which on one hand, like ultimate sport touring machine, but on the other hand, it's so versatile. So yeah, you just ride it. Literally, you don't need time to adjust to this motorcycle. You put absolutely everything in automatic mode, but same time, you don't even notice that, you know? And that's what's interesting. I think that is the best when it's done in a way that it is there, but you don't even notice that.
If you're someone who doesn't really travel much, but you need like versatile motorcycle for everything, let's say commute through the town, maybe do some weekend trips, or maybe once or twice in a year you wanna travel, like do 1 week trip or 10 days trip or even 2 weeks trip, GT would be the best, like middle ground. It will do everything for you. If you want, you can even get GT with automatic gearbox. It's gonna be a little bit more expensive, but what I can tell you, what I can see at least, end of the year you can find really good deals. Like recently I went to the dealer and I saw that they sell Y-AMT only 200 euros more expensive or 300 euros more expensive than standard version. And in such setup, I would say, oh, no, I'm gonna go with Y-AMT because I have unified brakes, I have backlit switchgear, I have automatic gearbox, so I in general have a little bit better package for only 300 euros more. If there is no discount and the difference around like 1000 euros, maybe 1200 euros, in this case questionable. I would probably go with just standard manual transmission, but I would say GT is probably the best value and the best middle ground for you to be able to do everything. But for those who actually travel a lot, and probably you buying the motorcycle only to travel, not for daily rides, you know, there is like people, they only consider bike as a pleasure, and they keep it in the garage all year round, and then maybe in the summertime 1 or 2 times during the year with their friends they go for like 5,000 kilometers trip all across Europe, or any other continent. So in this case, GT Plus makes total sense, to be honest. It is just like ultimate tourer with all tech you need, and I believe that tech will be relevant for another like 3 to 5 years. So if money is not a question, and if you're really looking for ultimate tourer and you kind of have concerns about automatic gearbox but you're open to new things, I would say that go with Y-AMT, go with GT Plus, just get it. It's pretty much for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant, I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.